and welcome back to my channel, Mental Health with Melissa. Thank you for stopping by. If you are new here, I post new videos every single Sunday and Wednesday, and subscribing to my channel really helps me get mental health information out there to our communities of color and tons of free Lcsw test prep. I currently have a social work study with Melissa Lcsw test prep study program available at the link below down in the description box for purchase on my website. I've been getting several inquiries lately about tutoring services that I provide. Just because of time constraint, I'm not able to do one-on-one live tutoring, and so for that reason I came up with this study program, which is what I would use if I did one-on-one tutoring services. So in this study guide there are tons of private videos of me speaking kind of in the same manner that I do on my free test prep videos on my channel. And you will have unlimited access to that. And there's a study guide. It's a 10-week program that I definitely recommend that you follow for the course of 10 weeks. And then there's a 170 Lcsw mock exam at the very end. Anyway, let's go ahead and get into the content of this video. Again, if you're new here, I am a therapist, a licensed clinical social worker, a clinical supervisor, and a PhD psychology research student. Okay, so today what we're going to be exploring is the Roe versus Wade and the very recent released draft opinion overruling Roe versus Wade by Justice Samuel Alito. So before we get into it, I want to give a little bit of a brief history. History tells us a lot. It helps us understand more about what is going on currently in the media or with current sorts of legal cases, which are all, of course, macro policy-wide. And if you watch my other videos, and also if you have been studying for the Lcsw exam or you're a social worker, then you know that macro and policy-wide sorts of concerns definitely trickle down and affect more micro-level interactions for individuals. We need to take a better look at the information that we have, and so exploring the history helps us understand things a little bit better. So the reason why we're taking a look at this is because we're also going to take a look at how this ultimately affects the social work profession and how you can expect to possibly see this on the Lcsw exam. So just to kind of jump right in, I got this information just on the web, and you can find it here. I'm sure you can go on Google and find it on other sources, but just for the sake of time, we're going to just read this blurb. So Roe v. Wade was a landmark decision of the U.S. Supreme Court in 1973, in which the court ruled that the Constitution of the United States protects a pregnant woman's liberty to choose to have an abortion without excessive government restriction. The decision struck down many U.S. federal and state abortion laws. Roe fueled an ongoing abortion debate in the U.S. about whether or to what the role of moral and religious views in the political sphere should be. It also shaped debate concerning which methods the Supreme Court should use in constitutional adjudication. So, I want to give you a little bit more historical components about who exactly is Roe, who is Wade, just so that we can get a better understanding of the people involved. Because again, this was kind of a very macro and policy-wide sort of understanding in the U.S. history, but who are the actual individuals that we know so well by name, but barely by face? So Roe is actually a pseudonym. So Roe was not the name of the person involved in this. Roe is actually a woman by the name of Norma Mccorvey. So Norma Mccorvey was the person that became pregnant Henry Wade was the Dallas County District Attorney. So what happened here was that McCorvey, well, I'll refer to her as Roe in this, for the purposes of this introduction, became pregnant. And when she found out she was pregnant, she basically was not sure that she wanted to have the child. Sarah Weddington and Linda Coffey came in to help her with the abortion litigation. So they were able to really work with her and presented this to the Dallas District Office. And again, the district attorney, Henry Wade, represented the state of Texas during this time. Roe ended up having her baby and gave the baby up for adoption. However, one of the cases was assigned to the panel of judges, which included the judge they thought would be sympathetic, and ultimately they won, and that's how Roe v. Wade came about. Now we are at this point where leaked opinion suggests Supreme Court will overturn Roe v. Wade. So if you have been following, you know that on the Supreme Court, Justice Samuel Alito had a draft opinion overruling Roe v. Wade, which was leaked to Politico and revealed to the public, actually just recently this week, Monday night, that it is more than just an attack on abortion. It's a manifesto laying out a comprehensive theory of which rights are protected by the Constitution and which rights should not be enforced by the courts. So one of the questions that comes up is, if Roe v. Wade falls, are LGBTQ rights next? So the reason why I bring up this question is because some people are looking at the overturning of Roe v. Wade as a sort of a standalone, isolated case. However, what is being argued is that Alito's opinion is a warning that after Roe falls, the court's Republican majority may come for LGBTQ rights decisions next, such as the marriage equality decision in one of the very much known cases from 2015. So how does this impact the social work profession? As social workers, we have our ethical principles based on our core values. So that's service, social justice, dignity and worth of the person, importance of human relationships, integrity, and competence. So if we're looking at the ethical principles on based on the social work core values, then we understand that we need to be respectful of every person and mindful of cultural and ethnic diversity. That's under dignity and worth of the person. On top of that, our competence as practice within areas of competence, continuously develop professional knowledge and expertise, and contribute to the knowledge of the profession. So that means that when there are these statewide or federal-wide policies, that we have an obligation to understand what's going on, because at the end of the day, they affect us at the individual and micro levels. And so knowing this information and advocating for our clients is extremely important. So I want to take a look now at a LCSW test prep question that may get your knowledge base going, not just on a possible LCSW test prep question, but also something that may come up in practice for you or your fellow colleagues. So let's go ahead and take a look at it. Okay, So go ahead and follow along with me as I read this, or you can pause it and then come up with your answer and then play to compare it. A woman presents to a family clinic to meet with a social worker. She informs the social worker she is 18 weeks pregnant. She wants an abortion due to limited resources to care for a child, but also feels guilty, quote unquote, for thinking this. She asks the social worker what she should do and what the social worker advises in terms of abortion versus adoption options. The social worker has very strong beliefs about pro-life and has a desire to advocate this to others in their personal life. What is the best response from the social worker? Okay, so best, this lets us know that we want an option that is going to really speak on behalf of what is going to be the priority here, because there may be a couple options that sound good, but what is the best? Okay, so option A, provide psychoeducation on adoption options. So this seems very one-sided. As social workers, we want to meet the client where they're at and not be biased at the end of the day and put our own personal beliefs onto the client. So even if the social worker had strong beliefs about pro-choice, just giving the client pro-choice information would be very inappropriate because that is a personal belief and opinion of the social worker, not the client, yet that we know of. So we would not want to just provide psychoeducation on adoption options. Maybe the client asks this, so that might be an option, but there might be better kind of ways to respond. Provide psychoeducation on abortion options. So again, kind of like as I mentioned, if the social worker is a proponent of pro-life and just provides information on abortion options, again, that would be kind of one-sided unless the client was specifically asking for that, but it doesn't say that's what she's asking for at this time. She wants a personal opinion from the social worker, but that would not be meeting the client where the client's at. Option C, let the client know what their personal views are about pro-life, but tell the client to choose what is best for her. So again, this would be letting the client know what the social worker would do in the situation, but that's not appropriate because we're here for the client. And even though the social worker says the client should choose what's best for her, this is a little bit leading because she's disclosing in a way that is not clinically appropriate. A little bit of self-disclosure, if it helps the clinical and therapeutic process, can be good, but this doesn't look like the self-disclosure is being used in an appropriately clinically way. So we'll take that out. So that leaves us with option D. By the process of elimination, have the client provide more details about her concerns regarding her pregnancy and provide psychoeducation on all options. So we really want to know more about her concerns. This is the first time the woman is meeting with the social worker. We have limited information about this quote unquote guilt, the limited resources. We want to know more. We want to know what's going on so that the client can talk through an informed decision. And that goes hand in hand with the social worker providing, referrals or psychoeducation on what's available to the woman. So ultimately, the woman can make the choice herself. And so option D would be your answer. So again, this is really important to know regardless of what your sort of stance is on this issue as a social worker. We want to always make sure that we're putting the client first and not putting any of our own personal sorts of opinions on the client's decision-making process. And we also want to respect the right to autonomy, and the right to autonomy and the right to the body means it pretty much means pro-choice. The woman or the individual, whoever the person may be, has autonomy over their own body. Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button for more content like this. Until next time, managing mental health matters.